Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you so much, Senator, for bringing this resolution, and thank you to our guests for being here. I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. There is a favorite anecdote of Gandhi that I used as a teacher, which is there is this wonderful moment where a mother brings her young child to visit Gandhi, and people will line up for long periods of time to see him, and she brings him and says, "Gandhi, I need you to tell my son to stop eating sugar because it's so bad for him, and he eats too much sugar." And she gets up to see Gandhi, and he says, "Why don't you leave and come back next week?" She says, "I've waited so long in line to get to see you, and all I wanted to do is this one thing, just tell my son the right thing to do." And then, of course, she leaves, and she comes back a week later or sometime later and brings her son, and Gandhi sits this young man down and says, I need to tell you that it's really important for you to stop eating sugar because your mom is very worried about your health." And he leaves, and the boy is very affected. And as she leaves, she says to Gandhi, "Thank you, but why did I have to come back twice?" And he said, "Well, I had to first stop eating sugar myself before I could bring your son in and tell him that I thought he had to stop eating sugar." And I just thought in a moment in a world where it's so easy for us to tell folks how they ought to live their lives without first expecting the same amount of sacrifice, even with something small like, can you tell a kid to do the right thing? Gandhi was so sincere about living the life that he invited others to live that he wouldn't have even advised a child not to eat a lollipop without first making that sacrifice himself. It's amazing to me. I was able to go to Mumbai last year and got to go visit one of the homes where Gandhi lived there, and it is amazing when you think about the world as it existed then, or even as it exists now. And the concept that one man believed you could take down what was in many ways the most powerful empire in the history of the world without firing a single shot. And that is not a concept that I think if you look at any international challenge right now and believe, oh, you could solve Syria if you just had a coordinated effort of nonviolence. And the notion of what it took to overcome the British Empire was so much more comprehensive than that, and yet he dreamed that vision and made it into reality. I will say that in America, we often take time to celebrate all the things that we have exported to the rest of the world. I think today is a day to be profoundly grateful for one of America's great imports, which is if you look at the writings of Dr. King, if you look at it in the celebrations in Black History Month, Dr. King said when he accepted the Nobel Prize that there is probably no person in history who has mobilized or galvanized more people throughout his lifetime than Gandhi did. And he set the template for how this country went through our own civil rights revolution. And if you look at the legacy of the last 50 years, maybe two of the most profound successes for freedom and equality were the United States civil rights movement and Mandela's leadership in South Africa, both of them so directly seeded and led by Gandhi that I think it is not just our gift to celebrate, but our chance to say thank you for the incredible export that was India's great gift to the world. And in closing, I'll just say what was most compelling to me is that you can look at, when you go to Gandhi's house, his possessions when he died. And if you haven't seen them, when he died, he owned, among all of his homes and all of his houses and all the places he'd walked, he owned 8 things. He had one tunic, one pair of shoes, glasses, a stopwatch, and a couple of books. And I have more things on my desk right now than he had in his possession when he died. When you think about what it is, the legacy that you leave, for him it was not the possessions or the products, but what it was a world that was so profoundly changed that you would have in continents as far away as Africa and the United States an entirely different set of beliefs about how we might learn to live together, to love together, and to change the world together. That's probably the greatest possession he could leave us. So thank you.